Hi, Assalamualaikum, and very good morning to all of you. Welcome back to our AKK webinar. All right. How are you? How are you, everybody? I would like to say thanks to all participants, viewers for the last coaching basic. AKK FB Live have reached 12,354 viewers reached on the our AKK HB Live, and we have around 4.4K on the viewers, and keep going to do that. All right, my name is Afzan Mahadi. I'm the head of coaching expertise, National Coaching Academy, as known as Akademi Kejurulatihan Kebangsaan, and I'm actually from National Sports Institute. All right, for all viewers, fellow ISN, ICCE, MSN, MSN Negeri, MOE, universities, athletes, students, fellow coaches, development at grassroots level or at the national level, parents, Malaysian viewers, and also all global viewers. I would like to say thank for joining AKK webinar. All right, today I'm going to present another topic on the our webinar on how to start coaching. This topic developed in order to further up or to discuss on the continuity of coaching basic, which is last Tuesday on the 16th of June. All right, let's start. Hang on. All right, we are going to cover three elements today on the how to start coaching and what should you do and purpose of being a sports coach, and of course the last one on the coaching tips. All right, we go to what is the sports coaching. All right, sports coaching is a development of training, which is in which an individual coach support the learner in attaining a specific professional or personal goal. So the element of sports coaching is the process of guiding, motivating, and training individual. This is the feedback that the review that I have. This is came from the American Psychology Society and Association for the Psychological Science in 1992. All right, sports coaching actually come in handy to impart of basic skill of particular sports. So sports coaching actually the combination on the skills, tactical, and rules and regulation on the specific sports required. Sports coaching actually helps to aid athletes, for example, in advance their professionalism or professional level in respective sports event. For example, you have only a basic element that you learn from YouTube, you learn from whichever knowledge management, knowledge a program that you have, you cannot neglect the element of coaching. It's look like you're going to school, you be a good student, but you don't have a teacher. So sports coaching is look like you as an athlete, and as an athlete, you must have a coach to train you. Sports coaching integrate means sports science and sport medicine in training. Why? This is what's actually element that being neglected by certain coaches. Why? Every coaches must equip themselves to be good in general practice in sport science and sport medicine. We don't go into deep sports science. We don't go about the analyze on the video program and so on for our athletes. But at least we know the basic element on the nutrition, on the changing of physiological body for athletes who are age 12 to age 15, something like that. And in terms of sports medicine, we need to have kind of preparation on the injury prevention, what the coaches should know in terms of dealing when your athletes facing the injury during the training program or during the competition, what they should do. All right, so this is a element that I mentioned now is what actually sports coaching. Okay, what's the difference between sports coaching and teaching? The relationship between teaching and coaching playing a different roles, or they are same element? Of course, in coaching, coaches responsible for past knowledge and skill of sports. But in teaching, they're more to responsible for academic growth and performance. In coaching, we have win or loss. In teaching, we have pass or fail. But both aspects have a goal and mentor set for the learners. This is according to Bompa. You cannot doing coaching alone without teaching the element on the academic growth in specific sports. And at the same time, you cannot doing only theoretical in terms of academic growth and performance and neglected the element of skill, passing the hands-on program to the young kids or to the athletes. So that's a difference. The teaching part more to examination oriented, and the coaching part more to you win or you lose. All right, that is a relationship between teaching and coaching. All right, how to create your own coaching value? So starting from now, you should challenge yourself to create your own coaching value. A lot of coaching values that you can get from internet, a lot of coaching value that you can get from books and so on. But in no matter what, you as a coach, you need to create your own coaching value for you to follow. For example, you need to be true to yourself. Why? Because you can never please everyone all of time. Focus instead of being who you naturally are, and good things that follow that will flow from that. So you cannot be very soft spoken when you are really somebody who are very strong character. Sometimes soft spoken cannot suit as a coach, but sometimes we may use a soft spoken in our coaching style. So you need to be true to yourself. The second example, build a shelter for rainy days. Build your own skill so that the skill that you have, this is the skill that you require. So you cannot depending only for your head coach to teach or to train athletes without develop your own skill in particular. So every coaches, they must have X factor. To be a coach, you cannot 100% depending to your a coach coordinator or your head coach or your other friend's coach. You need to create your own way of knowledge required. Drink from good books, the good books. Read things that challenge you, explains a new knowledge. All right. So you cannot only saying that today I'm going to do a jumping jack, I'm going to do a 100 meters a run, such like that. But you need to create what that you need to do, like a continuity of the additional of the difficulty during the training regime. So drink from good books. Then you can refer books or you can refer your mentor and so on, how to create it. Not every program that has been developed outside from your area can be followed, because sometimes having a copy program can kill your athletes. So you need to suit the program that you develop with your athletes based on their physiological body, might be based on their morphological body, maybe based on their age, based on their ability, based on their whatever physical attribute. So you need to make sure that you customize your program, then you explain new knowledge to them. All right, perseverance. This is in order to succeed, you must first be willing to fail. None of the coaches are facing a pathway in a straight way path. None of the coaches doing that, having that. So you never try, you never fail. If you never try, every coaches must have that type. But for those who have the knowledge in terms of asking your athletes who are aged 15 to lift around 150 kilos on the, I do not know, whatever program that you have, there must be a knowledge from there. You must have 150 kilo. Is that suitable for athletes who are 16 years old, who actually just started around three months of program? So normally, coach, they do have the progression program in order for you to reach a goal, in order for you to reach your setting in terms of fitness, in terms of your specific skill in sports. All right. Other than coaching value, you may create something like work hard and always give your best effort. You need to have a teamwork. You need to have a coaching value like a positive attitude. Must be positive attitude. Help others. Enjoy the movement and have fun. Have fun not in terms of you just play, you just doing things without a commitment. Have fun is the one that you create must be come from a love and joyful, and you need to have something like things that attract your athletes to be part in your program and continue in a program. Discipline. This is the most important part that every coaches, that every athletes need to have. All right. I have dared to be different. So how to start coaching? Dare to be different. You cannot start coaching only copying other people a training program, only copying what other people do. There's nothing wrong, but you need to formulate the program that you have in every team that you train. Okay, how to start coaching? Start with understanding of the physiology first. When I'm talking about physiology, I'm talking about setting, represent reps, cycle times, intensity level, load management, skill, drills, etc. Every athletes, a team of a group of athletes that you have, you must understand their physiological body. Is that what level that they are, their VO2 max, what level of their strength, what level of their agility. You cannot ask your athletes to do agility program without you know their speed, without you know their strength, without you know the flexibility. So this play part in order for you to have the to start coaching. So normally, in order for you to start coaching, you must do a basic fitness test to check what the purpose of fitness test. You may ask most of the ISN fellow here. It's not only to give a punishment to the athletes to check whether they fail or they're not. The purpose of fitness test to check, for example, first time in the program. So you need to be make sure that your kids or your athletes must following the norms that you have. How to create norms? If you don't have norms, it's okay. You started with a database first, baseline. Okay, for example, like you are going to test your athletes with, for example, with the speed, with the endurance level on the yo-yo test, beep test, and so on. You check on the yo-yo test, what level are they? If their level below than 5, meaning that their VO2 max level is very low. If their level might be around 8, okay. So you can include the training program in terms of skill training program in a little bit high intensity. But if not, you need to start in generalities in the skills provided that every athlete that follows your program able to do that. Why? Because they go back to the health improvement later on. We don't want to have a team who are black and white in terms of their face because the coach pushing them too hard and not really suit with their fitness level. So there is a partly of physiological that you need to understand in terms of your team athletes who are dealing with you. And of course, besides physiological in terms of fitness level and so on, you need to check on their health. Is that they have any problem with their heart, they have any problem with their neuromuscular and so on. You need to get a clear, because we don't want to be a coach who are responsible for the athletes who facing a problem, their own problem, and be secretive to us. So the declaration of the athletes must be before they are attending the training program. All right. The second one, develop clear understanding of your own motivation for coaching. You must make sure that why do I want to be a coach? Is that because I want to be a coach because of the salaries that I've got it? No. Or to give something back to the sport because I was an athlete, so I want to give something to the sports. Or maybe your own special interest to make sure or to look forward to make sure that newcomers should be learn things like what you learned before. So the transfer technology in terms of coaching element is there. So every coaches must have a clear understanding on that. Don't choose coaching, sports coaching as your last career, because you might really feel frustrated later on. Because when you talk about coaching, sports coaching, you talk about two elements. There is a theory and practical hands-on. All right. The third one, make a commitment to honest daily self-reflection and continuous improvement. When you say make a commitment to honest daily self-reflection, continuous improvement to your own knowledge, to your own physical ability, and to your own lifestyle. So coaches, they must have a certain character as a coach. All right. Spend time and understand yourself. This is the most important. You need to spend time with yourself and understand yourself partly. Master the use of available technologies. Nowadays, coaching is not only hands-on doing things like, okay, you do this and you do that. You must know the technologies. We have quite numbers of new technologies recently, ages. For past 20 years ago, they started with analysis of games. But during that time, they just use a big laptop. But now they just use a tab to do game analysis. You must know a basic element on the, now we have quite numbers of apps that coach might use. We have a video, if those days we just need a video camera to capture photos, videoing your athletes. But nowadays you may use only your handphone with a new technology. So every coaches must get in touch with the technology. If you do not know anything about that, so-called that you are blind in IT, you may ask your friends. So this is what we call it networking. Have a simple, clear, and effective load and volume of training. Okay, so you start coaching, you don't even dare. Of course, when I said just now, dare to be different. So you may use something like, oh, I need to have a dare to be a effective load and a volume of training, of course. But the thing is, you must follow a set of criteria, or easy for me to say is a standard operation, a procedure that's supposed to be. All right. Avoid the more is better track. This is the most important element that numerous of young coaches or who started with coaching area, who actually doing things more. The more you train, the better you are. But you try to change the element, the smart you as a coach to train with a quality one, the quality athletes that you have. So this is the most important. So avoid the more is better track, because many teachers, school coaches who actually aiming something for the district level or states level, pushing too hard for their athletes at a lower age to win so many competition as possible, while at the age below the 15, they might win in certain element of program. But it is good to have the a developmental in term of numbers or sports sampling, like what I said last session. Allow them to play more sports. So at the same time, you can develop a numbers of physical fundamental skill, then the wider talent that you can get from one athlete. All right. Again, no one size fit for all. So you design your program followed by needs, age, and maybe specific sports, specific needs. All right. Think about talent differently. Think about talent differently. Different athletes, different kids, different participants, actually they have a different talent. The talent is not only on the physical fitness. The talent may includes their morphological body. Their talent, for those who are not really knows about morphological body, is more like as known as structured, body structured. All right. Just now I mentioned about fitness, fitness level, physical fitness level, morphological body, and might be their special interest. Numbers of athletes who have a very tall in terms of morphological body, very good in terms of hand, finger, and so on, very good in terms of thumb. But when you push them to specific sports, only 3 months they can remain stay. Other than that, they want to discontinue. Why? Because the special interest is not there. So I might choose one example, like in boxing. In boxing, the fitness level required for boxing, agility, speed, speed in a small area, agility, alertness, and so on. You pass to test these A athletes, A participant to be athletes of the boxing. But when you ask them to go on the sport area ring, punch 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, okay. But you ask somebody else in front of her, punch in front of him, punch him. No, I feel so scared. So in terms of psychological element there, it's take part on the talent differently. If they are too nervous, they not really have the a strength to say that I can't really punch people, I can't really punch my opponent and so on. So in terms of heart itself, whether you want to train them is okay, but might be take quite some time, or might be you can transfer him to other sports. So you need to think about talent differently, meaning speed, agility, fitness, tall or not the key element to choose a good athlete. All right, we go for the next. Think about parent differently. As I mentioned to the last webinar, I mentioned about you need to be clear with parents. You need to make sure that parent knows the expectation of the training program that you have. So this is, I think, as a coach, before you start, must be see parents one-to-one, discuss with parents about the improvement or what do you get from first time your athletes into your program. Find a second obsession and commit. Why? The second obsession, you cannot really to say that you want 150% concentrate only for coaching. Why? Because as a human, I like to share something like we need to do different things. Not to say that at the same time when I'm doing a 9 o'clock of training, then I'm doing something, I'm selling things or not. No, but you need to find your obsession. Sometimes coach is look like athletes. They must have like active rest, what they're supposed to do while they're off of the training session. So you might like fishing, you might like doing like physical with ATV program in the jungle or 4-wheel drive program and so on, because that gives you a satisfaction, a different way compared than what are you doing in a sports per se. All right, what's next? Creativity and innovation. As I mentioned, copy according to needs and modify it. You cannot copy a program that Australian athletes doing at the age 12, and then you copying to the Malaysian athletes at age 12. You must check on the morphological body, their physiological size, and so on. Why? Because for example, like you need to assess different country, they have a different height in terms of morphological body for young athletes. For example, Australian athletes or participants at age of 12, their height around 170, 160. But in Malaysia, the average is something like 140. So much different, around 30 centimeter. So you cannot really copy what the coach from Australia do and copying into the Malaysia style. But you can copy the program, but the thing is, in terms of doing it, you need to modify it as a coach. All right. Next, create strong working network among sports coaches. So you cannot work alone in terms of when I'm talking about knowledge. Why? Because I can assume that every 3 months, every 6 months, there is a new technologies coming up. So you need to create a very strong network in terms of knowledge, in terms of number one might be on your sports skill. The network is not only by physical. The network might be, you may use like a Zoom, like a new technology nowadays, to discuss with other country or to discuss with other states. It's not only you need to be a physical there. So create a strong working network among sports coaches, and hopefully you may choose your head coaches yourself. Like for example, your own mentor to start with a program that you have to assess your program and so on. All right, become a student of technique and a master of technical skill of your sports. You need to be students all the time. You cannot say that I'm the teacher and nothing's new that can be into my what we call it knowledge management. So as a coach, you need to be a student. You need to be a student of technique and technical element, then mastering that. All right. And the last, I assume this is the last one, take care of yourself, mental and physical. You want to start coaching, you must take care of yourself, mental and physical. You don't even ask your athletes to be physically active if you are only sitting on the chair during the training session. So you need to prepare for that. Oh, I do have last one. Develop a hostility of the athletes, a development model, setting up a target to achieve. You need to make sure that athletes development model there with you, setting up the target to achieve. So every young athletes must have the target. Every athlete that you learn, you teach must have a target. So do you prepare one sheet of what the A athlete should do? Do you prepare that? Starting from now, you need to prepare that. And you need to ask every athletes of you to have a training logbook for you to check what are they doing during the session. Do they understand the session? Write down the notes and everything, and write down to say, what do you feel today? And please checking every weekend or end of the session every week to make sure that you are not doing as your own and the athletes don't feel like, what are you doing? All right. Okay, so we have quite numbers of the how to start coaching properly. All right, circle of coaching. As I mentioned to you earlier, you need to prepare A, B, C, D, and so on. You need to have like a circle of coaching continuous improvement. You need to plan. When you plan, doing it into your training logbook and so on, what you're supposed to do, A, B, C, and so on. And then you implement it. Meaning that from theory, you go to practical. After you implement it, what you're supposed to do, you must review your program. Is that your program up into the standard? How do you review your program? Might be you have a friends of from a coach's side to assess your athletes. That number one. Number 2 might be in terms of fitness program, fitness level that you have. You reassess their fitness by doing physical testing. You reassess your psychological element by doing like goal setting and so on for your athletes. And if your athlete achieve in certain level of expectation that you have, you may say okay or add another difficulty. If not achieved, then you adjust it. And then after you adjust, then you replan again. So the 4 elements on the cycle of coaching must be continuous until the end of the program. So everybody, you must, number 1 is plan. Number 2 is to implement. The third one, review. And the last one, adjusting. Okay. How do I become a coach? Am I ready? What should I do? The first one, start small. Choose might be 4 or 5 athletes under you. Don't really go to have a numbers of 50 of them. As the review that been doing internationally, every coach at the same time, every program that they have, they may concentrate only 15 to 20. But the nice number is between 10 to 15 in a group. Otherwise, parent will complaining something like, my kids don't have enough attention among by coaches because they have too many athletes. So we need to start small. By what? Be ready to start at the bottom, and you need to be humble and patient. Right. Number 2, find mentor, build relationship. As I mentioned to you earlier, mentor actually can give you a feedback. What are you doing? Are you doing in the right way, or you just keep doing at the same things that never have any improvement later on? Develop networking. All right. Develop your philosophy. Why do I want to do this? Is that because of love, passion, or just for money, or I just like to do that? Check your special interest on that. Apply long-term athletes development. There is no shortcut to be a good athlete within a year, within a month, within 3 months, within quarterly. No way. For you as a coach, you must given a long-term program in order for you to achieve a certain target. So that is why here, if a coach been exposed with periodization, there is a periodization that you need to follow a year, duplex or something like that. All right, that one will be a next session that I might teach. No shortcut and variety of training regime that you have for the long-term athletes development. If I'm not mistaken, a long time ago, when I checked on the few research that being developed by internationally scientists, in Russian, they tested around 700 young kids on the talent identification. By the end of the program, only 1 representing the country out of 700. Then you can imagine that from 700, there must be 500, maybe must be 200 something. Then how much money that government or parents spend in order for them to reach in certain level? So over here, we need to really look forward to have a long-term athletes development. By doing long-term athletes development, when you structure your program, actually can reduce in terms of physical injuries, can reduce in terms of burnout, dropout, and so on. But long-term athletes development is not only involve coaches, it's involve managers, involve school, involve ministry, involve organizer like association and so on. All right. The next one, never quit learning. Get exposure training. No matter that your exposure training come around your surrounded local area, or might be overseas, or might be via internet or whatever program. Like in Malaysia, we have continuous learning education in the coaching on the National Coaching Academy, AKK. So keep going learning and be ready for criticism. This is the most important part. Sometimes coaches giving up to continue in a coaching area. Why? Because they do not know how to handling the parents' problems and interference during the coaching. Interference during a coaching base sometimes came from parents, came from a manager or association. So as a coach, you must be ready for criticism. All right. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements how to become a coach. This is a basic element. There's a more element that I can be highlight later on. But the most important part, if you just want to start coaching, this is the 6th element that you must be ready. What you should do. All right, a coach responsibility, learning how to prepare athletes for peak performance. Okay, I have quite numbers of points here. Fundamental of training that you need to have. You need to know about the stamina, strength, flexibility, agility, speed, and skills. You must add in with the coaching methods, sport medicine, nutrition, strength and conditioning, psychology, athletes development program, and so on. So the fundamental element in training play very essential part for you to start and for you to check on the peak performance later on. Risk management. As a coach, you need to check the surrounded of your training area. You need to check the equipment. You need to check court and track and field maybe. And other than that, you need to check whether your athletes having injury, who are going to cover them. Check the insurance coverage. Check with parents, do they have a insurance coverage if anything goes wrong? So risk management of the program, nowadays risk management that coach should look into, like a COVID-19. They are not allowed to train because touching each other and so on. So there is a certain SOP being developed at every country in the world, how to start training with that pandemic. So the risk management that you have must be always a key element of the coach responsibility. Injury prevention, as I mentioned to you, the second one just now. Every coaches must have a knowledge on the first aid and injury prevention. Other than that, easy for me to say, like in order to avoid the injury or injury prevention, every coaches must know the basic on the proper warm-up and how actually the strength and conditioning, the strength element on their on their athletes in their team. So that you cannot ask your athletes who don't have a background on the endurance, not background, don't have a good endurance to run, to speed up their endurance level during the training. So you need to have a progression to avoid injuries, to avoid, might be they have difficulty for breathing and so on. All right, communication. I keep telling you guys on the communication part because this is involved a very strong element. Why numerous of athletes discontinue because of the communication, interpersonal among athletes and coaches, interpersonal among personal, team, organization, clubs, and so on. Sometimes because of misunderstanding in certain part of the a conversation or the what they feel about the program may actually influence your athletes to be out from the training session and might be find another coach, and this is a keep repeating. Then by the end of the day, 10 years of spending that you spending as an athlete to be a top level later on gone, burn out, drop out, and so on. All right. We continue with nutrition. Basic nutrition. Every coaches must know hydration status, fluid intake, tournament stick before, during, and after, weight management, do and don'ts, what you supposed to eat, what you can't really eat. Nutrition and plus minus involve the supplement that you take. Is that involve doping element and so on. So this is coach's responsibility beside athlete itself. Sometimes because they want to have a fast track, they want to have a very good muscle, very good figure, they may choose a certain supplement who actually banned by WADA and so on. So the nutrition play part over here. Do they actually can eat rice a half an hour before the competition or before training? So all elements there. Do athletes actually can drink 1.5 liters of plain water directly without stop? Or is that possible for that athlete do whatever jogging or exercise after that? So that's element on the nutrition that every coaches need to occupy themselves to be or to know everything and just transfer all the technology or knowledge that you have to your athletes and might be your parents. All right, the next one is a goal setting. Goal setting, we have a specific standard of the proficiency on the task, like a specific time or short-term, long-term, fitness or skill, target, focus for competition. So goal setting in different way. Goal setting in terms of psychology, goal setting in terms of physical fitness, goal setting in terms of might be related to the skill level. How many times that you shoot your by using a stick for hockey, for example, in the penalty corner and whatever it is, top D for netball or whatever in related. So goal setting play part. Okay, we move for the next, which is continue again with the coach responsibility, learning how to prepare athletes. How coaches should apply the knowledge. That's a key element. Understanding of athlete stage of development. Individual growth and individual maturity are different. So every coaches must have, most probably coaches who are trained women's, you must know the element of the right or wrong element. Okay. How coaches should apply the knowledge? Whatever knowledge that you have, you need to suit with custom-made with a different type of athletes profiling. Okay, training stage. Every team, every sports, they must have training stage. Training stage involving initial, involving intermediate level, and involving final. For example, if you teaching or if you coaching a group of athletes at school level, you started choose or identify them at age of 10. Age of 10, in between day one of training until end of the year, you have 365 days, or most probably you started around 200 days of training. So that I can call it as an initial. In a long term, might be you started at age 10, and then you want to finish out at age 12 before they transfer themselves to the secondary school. So that will be, we call it as an initial training. Intermediate training when they are 11 years old. So they're doing intermediate training, and the final training 12 years old. But it is depending on your target. If your target at age 12, you started at age 11, you want to ask them to represent MSSD at the district level in Malaysia. So you may use 2 years as your training stage: initial, intermediate, and final. Final, not that meaning that final, after the final, then you discontinue playing sport, no. But in that particular training range, you must look into a very specific area on the age, on the gender, on the fitness component when you try to segregate the training stage. So that's the point. Okay, early versus late maturing athletes. World, we're talking about 25% elite athletes actually come from children and teenagers. Teenagers, I would prefer before 15 years old. And 75% late mature athletes in world, in different country, in different sport, and so on. So normally, elite athletes who are categorized as children or teenagers, there is a certain element that we need to look at, because this is involved the growth and maturity and the body human development, right? Normally, young athletes who are elite athletes, they actually can represent their own country. For example, like I choose rhythmic gymnastics, diving, and so on at age of 15, at age of 16, at age of might be 13. But normally, if they start early, they might end quite early, normally around 25, while other sport, 25 is a starter key point for them to represent their own country, or might be their goal for the peak performance. For those who are in a children team or the teenagers, I can say that 15 years old, 16 years old is a peak performance for them. But not every sports actually doing the same things. We do have around a numerous of divers who actually continue their training at the Olympic level at age of 30, age of 28. But it's depending to the development of the long-term training program by association or your sports council, sport institute, and so on. All right. Burnout versus dropout. What actually burnout? Burnout is a long-term effect of overtraining, chronic injuries, lack of progress, and so on. That is what we call burnout. They don't want to, they cannot do their body physiological, cannot move forward, and so on. Dropout is athletes quit. Athlete don't want to continue in that particular sports because might be they get too bored, they've been pushed or whatever. So every coaches must understand the word of burnout versus dropout. Burnout is a long-term effect. The overtraining might be, as I mentioned earlier, you need to have things that not every athletes can do same thing. This depending on the age, on the morphological factor, and so on. All right. We go for the recovery. What actually recovery? Recovery, we have food. Food. Everybody like to eat food. Food is recovery. Sleep is recovery. Sports massage is recovery. Rehabilitation is recovery. Resting is recovery. With the whatever technology that you have, in order for you to recover your athlete, you may do that. For example, you may do like ice bath. It's a recovery for them to continue training for tomorrow. So recoveries play part in order to return to sport for tomorrow morning after a very hard training today. All right, the conclusion of this one. Coaches must have a passionate for long life learner in terms of physical and mental. So that is a coach responsibility. I keep telling you about learning something new. I keep telling you about long life program that you have to make sure you not only being a coach like morning until evening. You need to be a coach starting from now until the end of your ability. So a coach responsibility. All right, coaching categories and coaching domain. We have a divide actually under ICCE. They have been divide the participation of coaching, like coaching adults. We have a different way of coaching adult. Coaching adolescent, we have different way of coaching adolescent, and coaching children. This is the most important part, so that you cannot interrupt their human development in terms of morphology, in terms of body growth, and so on. To who that you doing the coaching, the participant of coaching adult? Is that the coaching adults on the coaching high performance, or coaching adult go to the performance athlete, or coaching emerging athletes? So all three elements on the performance coaching actually correlated with the participation of coaching. All right. And the coaching rules and competence, like we have numbers of a stage to be a coach. Number one, coaching assistant, just conduct basic coaching session. But in order for them to conduct a basic coaching session, coach must have a knowledge. You cannot follow 100% their head coach or coach to plan everything. Started learn. Coach to plan, leads and evaluate coaching session and block session. This is partly on the periodization plan they may use. Plan, advanced coach or senior coach, they actually got the ability to plan, leads and evaluate coaching session and session independently, their own. And master coach, they can do a plan, leads, evaluate session, multi-annual program with input from expert and others. So might be when you are master coach, you are actually a national coach, you actually connected yourself to the networking on the National Institute, who actually gave you a full support in terms of sport medicine, sports technology, sports science, and so on. All right, task related. Number one, set a vision and strategy, shape the environment, build relationship, conduct practices, structures and competition, and react to the field. Cannot be too slow when you on court. React to the program that you have. Okay, what skill do sports coaches need to be successful? Knowledge in sports science, specific medicine. You need to have a clear communication in a organization, observe and analysis, and of course you need to be more innovative. Innovative not in terms of technology that you have like a gadget and so on, but innovative in terms of training program that you create. So this is a good way of to be a coach. Tips for the new coaches. Number one, control what you can control. Don't sweat the small things. Things that you can control, then you can control, but don't go into a very deep element. Otherwise, you might giving up yourself as early as possible. Learn of good people. Surround yourself with the positive thinker, positive coaches, to be a better coach later on. Invest in your development. Invest in your development in terms of knowledge that you have, in terms of equipment that you have, technology that you have. Invest yourself. Show to others that you are able, that you are capable to train this A team or B team. Okay? Know your brand and protect it all costs. Reputation is everything. You must be firm, no matter that you can be flexible in certain way, but the decision must be firm. All right, be stable. You need to be stable in whatever thunder coming in and out in front of you. You must to be stable, because every athletes always see you high in whatever things that you do. So be stable and keep doing positive way. What are you doing in your lifestyle? Build network of supporter. Okay. All right. We go for the things to remember when when taking a new role. Number one, assess the level that you are coaching. Number two, working with forward-thinking committee. The third one, remember your role goes beyond winning games. Continue with realize what you do, not compromise on. Do not ever develop personal relationship with your athletes. Do not develop personal relationship with your athletes. This is element that come out under sexual harassment, a bias, fairness, element of a special program that I developed for A athletes rather than compare than other B athletes. No matter, this is why the A athletes can win in certain level, then the opportunity not being given for B athlete and so on. So do not ever develop personal relationship with your athletes. When dealing with parents, be open. No matter that the things that you are going to inform or to tell them is things like very negative about their kids, but you need to be open, but conversation must be held in one-to-one. Not to tell every parent, so the A athletes have been punished because of they are not doing things, blah, blah, blah. All right? Communication should be consistent. Meaning that when you say A, don't even change B within 5 minutes without without a concrete excuse. All right? Be approachable. Don't so arrogant. Arrogant is a very negative word for me to use, but in order for me to use like a jargon word, be approachable. You know, opposite, you are so arrogant. So don't do that arrogant. Be approachable. Be friendly with them. You are role model. If you are a smoker, do not smoke in front of your athletes. You must be a punctual coach, because when you're punctual, your athletes may, or your athlete will follow you. All right. Don't teach everything you know straight away. You have 5 elements today, this week. 5 elements I want to teach you. So sometimes athletes cannot adapt what you try to say, what you try to do in straight away. All right. So you need to do like a progressive from Tuesday, go to Wednesday, go to Friday, and so on. Have a life away from coaching. You cannot give, you need to give a full commitment towards your coaching area. But don't say that your life and death because of coaching. Otherwise, if your athletes, your organizer, or your things like give you a different feedback on your coaching performance, you might be so frustrated. So have a life away from coaching. You need to have that. You need to go to holiday. You need to do something extraordinary beside what you have in coaching. Coaching is not the hobby, but coaching is a commitment. Words commitment. Okay. Protect your knowledge. And last one, balance expectation. So this is the things that you need to remember when you're taking a new role as a coach. Among the element that I highlight here, the most element, the things that you really need to look after is do not ever develop personal relationship with your athletes and be a role model for your athletes beside the knowledge and so on. Okay, we go to the next one. On the, I assume this is almost end of the session. A coaching tip for the athletes. Give them time to switch a gear, meaning that don't push them too hard. At the same time, don't give them an opportunity to improve their self in terms of what are you train them. Okay, help them communicate, because sometimes athletes actually they feel a little bit shy and ashamed when you ask them in front of others. So you need to be a friend. You need to be friend with them, approachable with them. So at the same time, you can help them to communicate well among their team. Because when you teach them communicate well among their team, the interaction among their team become better during the competition. All right, so they develop the alertness among them. Follow the commercial break rules, meaning that you cannot push them from A to Z, push without stop. Follow the commercial break rules, meaning that in between your training session, 20 minutes, okay, stop for a while. I give you 1 minute or 2 minutes, take a drink, and then they can continue make a conversation with their friend, and then, okay, come on, we go for the next session, something like that. Follow the commercial break rules. Know their favorite. As a coach, you need to know their favorites. Their favorites is wearing the black t-shirt. Okay, so something, the favorite that they may know. Then sometimes the favorite, I like to eat cake. I'm so sorry, you're not allowed to eat cake during this session, but why don't you find another favorite of your food? Okay, I like to eat a spicy food. Oh, I'm so sorry, because during the training program, you're not allowed to do that. Might be off season, you can do blah, blah, blah. So this is an element that you need to know about their favorites. And lastly, numerous of coaches saying that I never do a mistake. This is very, very bad in terms of coaching athletes. So coach also doing mistake. Admit your mistake. Apologize to them. Nothing wrong for you guys as a coach. Admit your mistake to your athletes. So this is a element that I share. All right, I think to take home message, how to start coaching, we covered on the sports coaching ecosystem, how to start coaching, a coach responsibility, and a coaching tips. I hope you really enjoy. And any question? Q&A? Hi, Izzat Guzlan. I'm curious other than you mentioned just now, how important is your young coach to know about developing periodization of coaching to make sure that their athlete reach peak performance during tournament? All right. the program, I mean the periodization play part here, because periodization is all about lifespan of the athletes. So in order for you to have a periodization, you must gather the information in terms of training program that you have, load and volume volume of the training, and then you need to plot what actually what star. Normally we call it star, competition star. Is that this competition star is of only 1 star, 2 star, or 3 star? So 3 star normally will take quite a long path. Normally, if you are a coach at the junior level, maybe they might took around and about a year for you to reach in the performance, for the peak performance. So periodization, we are going to declare later on the what they're supposed to do. I might continue with the periodization, but of course periodization play part over here. Then we need to know about the tapering time, active rest, and so on. All right, maybe next question. All right, Alexander Zulkarnain, thank you for watching us. Athletes come and go. How to maintain periodization? Like part-time athletes development. This is the most difficult question that I can answer. I mean, periodization, actually, that is why we have in our program we have stages of athletes. We have athlete B, athlete A, B, C. So whenever athlete A out, we have athlete B. But of course, the athlete B cannot be the same with athlete A. So the development of the athletes is not only one part. You only concentrate 5 of them, then neglected the element of B. B meaning that another 5. So I feel you, coach. Very difficult for me to answer this question, because this is involved the sociological influences around. It's not involved with the technical element. I will contact you soon and discuss more about the answer that I should discuss with. All right. Okay, might be a last question before we break. All right. Rahim Mubarak Muhammad, thank you for watching us. Hello, Madam Afzan. How do you overcome issue with a state level association when they are not support your effort? My effort. All right. Okay, state level association. That is why in ISN or in I assume the national body, we need to encourage them to be a part of the program in terms of long-term athletes development. The key issue why states level do not continue with the long-term athletes program because of the funding. And it's not only at the states level association that I can refer with. It's involved with other clubs at their local clubs, local authority, and so on. For example, like when you are having a national meet, might be the National Sport Association give a year before the competition. Like for example, like by November 2020 for the program 2021, might be for the September 2021. But at the states level, they have the states sports council that association at the state level 100% depending on the funding that proposed by them to the states association. So sometimes the states state sports council only can assist them like 6 months before the competition because of the funding issue. So at states level or whichever level, everybody must have like something creative to think about training, get sponsors. Of course, when you say that, oh, it's not that easy for us to get sponsors nowadays, but there is a way for you to start get sponsors, not depending 100% to the government due to the plus minus with the COVID and so on. So I assume different association, they have a different approach in terms of getting sponsors. It's not only depending 100% to the sports council, might be for the sponsors from local business group to get a sponsors. So more or less that's I can answer so far. All right, I think will be end of the session. I really hope that you enjoy watching the program that we have today, and we might continue this type of program later on. And I really hope that you gain whatever knowledge that I shared with you on the how to start sports coaching and how to start coaching with and what you should do. Use whatever tips that I shared with you in a positive way, and I really pray for your success in your own career in a sports coaching. Okay, bye.